Hello YouTube world, Justin Leeper here, just about to show you the CM Punk 2 story from my series of director's commentaries on Road to WrestleMania. Of course, I am the writer, designer, and director of Road to WrestleMania for SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, 2010, and 2011, and I'm going through all of those games, all of those stories, to give you a little bit of behind the curtain type commentary on them, and also playing them myself, which has been pretty fun. So in this episode, we're going to see, coming off of Royal Rumble, CM Punk, the new ECW Champion, having to deal with Stephanie McMahon and Tazz trying to put an end to the extreme style that made ECW unique. CM Punk's obviously going to have something to say about that. And also, I'm going to regale you with the tale about the most difficult aspect of me making any of these games, and that was getting WWE approval on SmackDown vs. Raw 2009's Road to WrestleMania. So stay tuned for that. If you're a little bit behind, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description below above somewhere so you can get all caught up. And thanks for watching, and please continue to enjoy. Bye. Okay, here we are for another episode of ECW. Of course, this one is after Royal Rumble, where we won the championship. Yay for us.
We have a new ECW Champion. Meanwhile, Tommy's still in the hospital with a punctured lung. This shouldn't have happened.
Ooh. There's always a risk in Extreme Rules matches, Taz. You know that. But it was a great contest.
As my buddy Big Daddy Hoofer used to say, this ain't checkers.
Where are you going?
Alright, Taz seems to have gone somewhere. That crafty guy.
At Royal Rumble, a superstar got hurt. My good friend and ECW original, Tommy Dreamer. And I am sick and tired of this happening time after time.
I'm kind of sick of looking at that jacket.
Matches? Well, I'll tell you what, it takes a huge toll on us. It's the single reason I had to retire.
A huge toll.
When a superstar is injured, it's bad for business, and my family doesn't like that. Thanks to Tazz's concerns, I'm hereby abolishing extreme matches. Effective last week.
And there's the woman who told me I'm not as good as I think I am.
CM Punk's win at Royal Rumble is negated. And I need him to come out right now to relinquish the ECW Championship.
Talk about revisionist history.
What, that's it? Sorry, CM, no more title? You're too extreme for ECW?
Unfortunately, yes, but...
Talk about hitting a guy when he's down.
And you can hear some kind of random CM Punk yelling there. That was a lot of the guys from Sound Deluxe, the cutscene audio people, would often do those little shout-out screams, or sometimes they'd have me do it and they'd just pitch it around so it sounded a little different, just to get some kind of specific kind of crowd yells for certain situations. So Elijah Burke decided to jack me after I just, I guess relinquished the ECW title, and so he and I are going to have a little brouhaha. And he's actually doing some counters here. And I did not counter that. So Elijah Burke, as I said in a previous video, seemed to have a little bit of heat with me based on an interview I did with him for Games Radar magazine around Superstar Challenge at the WrestleMania that happened in LA. I think that was the quote-unquote 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, which happened after this, well, maybe after I wrote this, but before, maybe it happened in 2009? Now that doesn't make sense, because I wouldn't have been interviewing him as a freelancer when I worked on the game. So it must have been before this. Alright, now we're taking a little bit of control. And the fans are getting into it. Big high angle waistlock suplex. Drop him on his beads. And really, Elijah Burke, when he became the Pope in Impact, That was a cool gimmick, and they let him do quite a bit with it. Meanwhile, I'm not seemingly able to scale the corners as easily when I'm using my PS4 controller, which several of you reached out in the comments last video and gave me some tips on how to pair my PS4 controller to the PS3 so I don't need to have
Elijah Burke maliciously attacked the dejected CM
yeah.
Punk.
Just like the fight I had in middle school where the guy ran away and I told him, "Come back here, punk."
State's evidence anyway, partner.
True story. Part of a true story. I don't know where I was. Oh, my PS4 controller is now what I'm using on this PS3, and I don't need to have it plugged in. However, it's still, with the diagonals, just a little iffy. So, all right, here's a story, and hopefully there's time to tell it. So these things all had to be WWE approved, right? This was my first year doing this, and I sent the stories in when they were all finished to WWE. We were waiting for approval. We had, we were under the gun. It's a short development cycle to begin with, and we had to, I had to make up the motion capture script, the shooting script. We had to start getting voiceover. Ukes needed that sign off before they could really start designing stuff, and WWE was kind of dragging their feet. So we, our guys stayed on them, and eventually we heard, okay, we're sending one of our guys on a plane to LA. He'll be there a couple days and you guys can hash it out. Like, okay, cool. Does he have the scripts? Yes, he does. Okay, great. We'll see him in a little bit. And he shows up at the Agora Hills THQ offices, which are now, of course, no longer around because THQ is no longer around. And he hasn't read anything. This guy named Dave Lagana, who wrestling fans may recognize. So now we're going in the story where this is our first match in the ECW title tournament, strangely, even though we were just a champion. So Lagana comes in, he says, "I have not read any of this. Let's just start from scratch. I know what I'm talking about. I work at WWE." So I'm going through stuff with him. Now I think the Jericho story was pretty much done as the vertical slice, but all the other ones he was kind of like, "Yeah, I got a whole bunch of ideas." And something I learned in making this game, you can have the best narrative ideas, but if they don't meld with gameplay, they're pretty much useless, because this is not a TV program that people are watching. This is a game that people have to play. So things aren't going well. I got the shock of knowing that that all my work had basically gone down the toilet. I excuse myself, I go talk to Corey Ledesma, my boss, and I say, "Corey, this guy doesn't know anything." He's like, "Dude, you gotta get this done. Do what it takes, get this done." So I pretty much was chopping off fingers the whole time for the next 2 days, trying to get this stuff in a situation where I could once again start rewriting the scripts to get them in stories that I agreed with, that Lagana agreed with, and man, it was the most difficult thing I had to do in this game. And there were some difficult things. I'm sure I'll talk about them later, especially as I got, had to argue with Ukes over getting stuff implemented or not implemented. But and I remember the Lagana stuff because in this thing, I originally wanted Mick Foley to be where you saw Tazz kind of railing against the Extreme style, but that didn't work. I don't know if that was Lagana didn't want to use him or what the deal was, but we used Tazz instead. But there were a lot of changes like that. Now, I'm not saying that these were bad changes because, again, he worked there, so he obviously was doing something right. But he also created a lot of problems for me. And then, like, much later, after this game had come out or whatever, I hear from friends of mine, wrestling friends of mine, that he was talking smack about me, that he was calling me an idiot. So not only did he make it very difficult for me to do my job, set me back maybe a month, but also was smack talking me afterwards. So I have a message for Dave Lagana. Dave, happy 2020. I hear you're working at NWA. I hope you continue to grow the audience there, keep making it a place for wrestlers to go and find good work, for fans to go and find good wrestling. And I wish you success and health. And that's it. And now we're moving on to the next round of the CM Punk tournament, presumably. Now, Lagana also came to see me do my play, The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity. I didn't get to talk to him. I think we exchanged one or two tweets, added each other after that. But I have not talked to him since. And here we go with week number 6. So apparently we advanced in the tournament, so that's kind of good, right?
The tournament to crown a new ECW Champion continues.
These are some big matches tonight, no doubt.
CM Punk versus Elijah Burke may very well blow the roof off of this arena.
Definitely Elijah Burke is somebody who we wanted to face coming up as an adversary for us, so we get to take him on the next round tournament.
Hey now, I know the score. Injuries come with the territory. Don't worry about me. I'll heal. Focus on your match.
Yeah, round 2 of a tournament for a championship I never lost.
You're rightfully ECW champion. No matter what Stephanie or anyone else says, go out there and be extreme by any means necessary. Break rules. Use a weapon. Get disqualified. Don't worry about this stupid tournament. We both know it's bogus. Just do your job as an ECW superstar.
So there you see Tommy is kind of a mentor to Punk. You see Punk kind of salty about something that's kind of on brand for both of their characters. And I don't care who has a problem with us going extreme. So, you know, Punk's obviously going to take Tommy's advice, and he wants this to be Extreme Rules.
Just over 2 weeks ago, CM Punk won the ECW title following a stunning victory over Tommy Dreamer. But thanks to the actions of my broadcast colleague and Stephanie McMahon, Extreme Rules matches have now been banned, and Punk was stripped of the title, which leads us to this moment here tonight, and this semi-final match to crown a new champion. Oh, come on now, put down.
And it's super cool to be able to write dialogue and then have the legendary Joey Styles reading it and delivering it with such passion that he would normally do on an ECW show.
He almost took his opponent's head
I
off
kind of
with that
contacted
lariat.
there. So we have to make this an Extreme Rules match in some way. Now, I still have not figured out how to dig under the ring for a weapon. So, but again, as I said last week, you don't want to mess with Brad Armstrong. But I just gave him a punch. So maybe putting him through I can't even get him up on the announce table.
He'll just be one match away from regaining the ECW title. 3.
One match away from regaining a title that I did not lose. Ain't that some stuff? Ain't that some garbage? Some gomi, as they say in Japanese. That's the word for garbage. Yeah. Yeah, ref. I mean, we're being extreme, right? Kind of like that funky arm drag there. Not sure what you'd call that. It's almost like a top wrist lock into an arm drag.
A sharp kick wearing down his opponent. That's a difference maker.
Alright, what are we going to do with this finisher?
And now a vicious choke, using the ring rope to cut off the oxygen supply.
Well, we could get DQ'd this way.
To those ropes to make this an extremely lethal maneuver.
Yeah, not giving up yet, ref. Not giving up.
Elijah Burke has got
Chokey
the
choke.
skill set to become ECW's guiding light as champ.
Of course, as we know, choking is what got Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, fired at one point
Punk's
when
not
he was a
worthy
member
of
of
being ECW
Nexus.
champion. Fact of the matter is this: it should have been him, Punk, that had the punctured lung, not Dreamer.
Alright, it's nice of the game to pause action for us to hear those exclusive commentary lines.
Just like that, CM Punk is out of the tournament.
CM Punk needs to learn to play ball here, Styles.
Now, we will definitely have a new ECW champion in the tournament final next week. What a misstep by Punk.
Now, I don't know if that scene was something that we motion captured or not. It looked pretty generic. Maybe I had Ukes find a kind of generic DQ cutscene that would work with those two characters. Because that didn't really necessarily look like something that that we motion captured. But it could have been. It was a long time ago. Going to Richmond, Virginia, the home of Gwar, and I'm currently wearing a Gwar t-shirt. At one point I had probably 20 Gwar t-shirts. Here in Japan I think I have 2, and then one with no sleeves for the gym, and then a Gwar hoodie, because they've been my favorite band since I was maybe 12 years old.
This is ECW live from Richmond, Virginia. Tonight we culminate our tournament by crowning a new ECW champion.
It'd be nice to have some fresh blood wearing the gold, Joey. I know where my money's on.
Yes, your opinions haven't been very well guarded these days, partner.
I like how Joey doesn't kind of let Tazz get away with it.
You really shook things up last week. Nice going. Elijah Burke thinks he's a lock to win the championship. Maybe you should show him how a real Extreme Champion behaves.
Now you wonder, is Tommy really being this mentory because he likes Punk, or does it have something to do with him having lost the title to Punk? Now I liked rating this promo. I wasn't too into his delivery on it.
You get the honor of seeing me before I coast in there and beat Jeff Hardy without even.
But maybe I didn't.
sweat.
Maybe it was my fault for
Before I
not getting
become the
Elijah's
new
voice the right way.
ECW champion. I will usher in a new era, not of Extreme, but of the Elijah experience. I'm a champion you can be proud of, not some frail has-been like Tommy Dreamer, or a greasy wannabe rebel like CM Punk.
Boo!
I'm a true paragon of virtue.
I love the footsteps of Punk running towards him just to jack him from off screen. And catering was left out. Anytime I can make some bottles and pizza boxes fly around, I'll take that. So yet another just kind of yet another unsanctioned fight. And a lot of missing here. Not even sure what kind of submission that is. But we know what that is. A neck breaker. Remember Rick Rude's neck breaker? Rick Rude actually trained by Eddie Sharkey, the same guy who trained me, same guy who trained Austin Aries, Sean Daivari, Sean Waltman, Demolition Smash, the Road Warriors. He had that neck breaker where he just kind of landed on his ass, and the other guy kind of, snapped his neck on Rude's shoulders. What a great performer Rick Rude was, and a strong man too. He was a arm wrestling champion. Kurt Henning's another guy, Mr. Perfect from Minnesota area, and he and Kurt would run together, and Kurt would end up getting into fights with people and make Rude beat him up, which is it was like just funny to Henning that he would kind of talk them into fights, and then Rude would have to do the fighting, or the arm wrestling, which would then lead to fighting. I'd love to throw him in a garbage can. Elijah Burke, that is. Look, there's still a lot of pizza left, though. And WWE brand, is that even a 2-liter of WWE water? Take that, Faygo. Faygo being the regional soda brand that the ICP likes and sprays all over the place. And when I was a kid growing up in Upper Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, we had Faygo, orange and grape. Oh, float over. No, you don't have me either. Now, when I worked with Gwar, we had a lot of those kind of red and black road cases. And I mean, we had a lot of them because there was all, a bunch of costumes, a bunch of props, a bunch of instruments. And at the end of the night, I would have to get out of my loincloth and roll up my blood hoses and help get the hired stagehands to bring the right cases to the right parts at the right time on the semi-truck that we had with us on tour. And that was in fall of 2014 when I was a roadie and slave for Guar. It's my second time bringing up Guar today, and there goes all the foodstuffs. All that pizza gone to waste. Not that wrestlers eat a lot of carbs anyway. Come on, giving them pizza? Might as well give them loaves of bread.
That's why it's called ECW, fans. And Taz, don't forget it.
Now, I love that idea of, him kind of grabbing the camera. And I've had that done a couple other times later on in other Road to WrestleManias, but I really like the idea of treating it like it is a camera and kind of, the wrestler talking into the camera at the fans or at, somebody they're targeting. So we're going into No Way Out, and we do not have a champion, or not have a match. And we messed up the championship match for ECW by beating the crap out of Elijah Burke, one of the two contenders. So we're causing all kinds of trouble here. Not quite pipe bombs, but making some trouble. Because that's what CM Punk do. That's what Chick Magnet Punk does.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at No Way Out. Joey Styles and Taz.
That's a weird camera thing. Like, the camera was in the corner and the guy didn't know he was going to be on.
Styles. We should have the finals of the ECW Championship tournament tonight with no interruptions this time.
Yes, I think CM Punk might be a little busy with his opponent to worry about the result of that match.
Oh? I have a match? Good to know. And I have a phone call? Good to know.
Stephanie wants to keep you busy
from
tonight,
Tazz.
so you don't get involved in the ECW Championship match. So, I got you a match against none other than Big Daddy V. Oh, and keep in mind that if you do interfere with the finals, you will be suspended indefinitely.
Alright, Taz, what are you wearing there anyway? You are not wearing your gaudy suit that you normally do. So we have to wrestle Big Daddy V, who had quite a prominent position in WWE's version of ECW. But I do not want to tangle with him too much, so let's beat him in 2.5 minutes. That does not sound super easy, because he is a very large individual.
CM Punk must be questioning his decision.
And that was Tomoko coming in to say something and leaving.
But instead, thanks in no small part to Taz, he's up against the 500-pound mastodon, Big Daddy V.
And maybe this will teach him to think before he acts.
Just the size of that guy, man. That's
Later on tonight, Elijah Burke
reminds me a lot of, was it Cale Yarborough, the sumo wrestler who wrestled on really early UFC and kind of got his butt kicked. Hopefully I'll be the smaller guy beating Big Daddy V's butt. Look at the size of that guy, love.
Came back from peeing.
Welcome back from peeing. See the size of that guy?
What a kick that was.
Akebono.
Yeah, he looks like Akebono, the most famous sumo wrestler ever, you'd say. Yeah.
And you can see
Come,
why.
come.
Yeah, it looks like Akebono.
God.
Oh.
Kanji.
Oh, he had a tattoo?
Kami, God.
So he's got a god tattoo on his arm, Tomoko's saying. Because she reads Japanese.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, I got a finisher.
He strikes the opponent with a quick kick.
Let's see if I can get him up for the go to sleep. Oh, that was easy.
And there's the go to
Down.
sleep. Knee to the temple.
Speaking of Japan, go to sleep, of course, is a move that was started by Kenta, who's a Japanese wrestler. Hideo Otami was what he was called in NXT.
He wasted no time in going for that.
Split leg moonsault to the pin. There we go.
Calling for the bell. The match is over.
we did actually beat him quick enough to get that bonus, whatever the bonus is.
I know what a tough competitor CM Punk is, but I'm still surprised he won tonight.
Nobody can doubt the toughness of CM Punk. It's his discipline that I worry about.
Disciplined or not, he picked up a big win here at No Way Out.
That had to be an early match, so I would assume that the title match is later. I mean, you wouldn't main event with Punk versus Big Daddy V non-title match, right? Well, we'll see what happened in the ECW title match on the next video, because we are done with episode 2, Act 2 of CM Punk's story. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the video intro that I'm going to do at the beginning here that you've already seen, hopefully. And, oh, we unlocked Layla. That's cool. Surprising she wasn't on the roster normally, but that's it. This is Justin and
Chonko.
Justin and Chonko here. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thumb me in the eye, and please subscribe.
Please subscribe and have a lovely day.
Bye.